A small village named Lukova in the Czech Republic holds an abandoned church, plagued with ghost statues representing a tragic history, yet also a hopeful future. Hello ladies and gentlemen and everyone watching. Today we will be talking about the ghosts of St. George's Church in the small village of Lukova, an art installation created by Jakub Hadrava. Before we fully jump into it, if you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, it's good to see you again. Alright, let's get into it. Lukova is a small town, or village, depending on who you talk to, in the Czech Republic, and its population matches the land, as there's only roughly 800 people. And here would lay a church that was built in the 14th century, known as St. George's Church. Side note, a lot of churches are named St. George's Church because of how highly regarded he was as a reverend and how symbolic he became. The church in Lukova unfortunately fell on some hard times. Not only did it have multiple fires all throughout its history and use, but reportedly, some part of the church's roof collapsed on some family members during a funeral that was being held in the church. Talk about a bad omen. And speaking of bad omen, a lot of people in the community thought it was a bad omen. That, as well as the fires, plus some vandalism and some just theft, led to the church being abandoned. And not only abandoned, but many people of the community of Lukova inferred that the area was haunted. And I don't think you can ever dig on someone for thinking something's haunted. Especially in 1968 when the roof collapsed. Because we didn't even have YouTube ghost hunters who risked their lives to go out and stay up at 3 a.m. to call some dead celebrity. God bless those YouTube soldiers. Anywho, this led to the community holding masses in front of the church, as there was a little field that they could just gather around at. And also, if they didn't think it was haunted, who wants to have the roof fall on them? I sure wouldn't. Yet that's not to say that the community didn't try to refurbish the building. It's just that refurbishing and, making things look nice when it's broken down, that costs money. And you have to think, there's only 800 people in this community. That's what makes up the population. And there's kids. Kids can't have jobs legally. But a group of 800 can only garner so much money to spare. And that's where artist Jakub Hadrava had an idea to not only create beautiful art, but also to try to help the community. Hadrava is a local artist in Lukova, and had the idea to create an art exhibit within the church to garner up money in hopes to finally refurbish that ceiling. I mean, the church's history is deep within Lukova. It was built in 1352, and Hadrava, being a good artist, he used the church's mythical history to create this art exhibit of eerie ghosts, made of plaster. The exhibit was funded in 2012 through a campaign by Lukova resident Peter Quick, and the ghosts illuminate the feeling of paranoia surrounding the church. These plaster casts that Hadrava draped over some of his classmates and told them to hang tight real quick while they hardened. And reportedly the ghosts represent Sudeten Germans, or German Bohemians, an ethnic group that used to live in the same area as Lukova, until they were expelled from the Czech Republic after World War II. Now, if you know your history, you might, correctly assume why the Germans were kicked out after World War II. Japan and the Soviet Union were just so elated that the Germans did worse things than them. At least that was caught on camera. Anyway, they were expelled because of their actions during World War II. It's believed that roughly 3 million of these Germans migrated to either Germany or Austria. Hadrava's installation, called My Mind, gained popularity in 2013 because of a YouTube video that went viral. And ever since then, it's been bringing tourists from all over. With the uncanny feel of a church service with no one there, the 20 statues have also enhanced the church's historical significance. I can't say for certain, but I believe this was the only church in Lukova for centuries. And as mentioned earlier, the fires, vandalisms, thefts, all of that stuff, as well as the roof collapsing, gave it an aura of paranoia within the community, elevating the church to become some mythic status. And Hadrava capitalized on that spooky history, enhancing the church's mystical aura with its statues. And as mentioned earlier, it led to some good in the community, as the art exhibit, My Mind, was created to possibly gain finances to repair the roof, as well as some other damages that the church endured throughout its lifetime. Well, in 2017, Jakub Hadrava's ghost installation raised roughly 23,500 euros, and the roof was repaired. Nowadays, alongside with some ghostly congregation members, the church has become reusable for those in the community who wants to go back to Mass. And Masses are held there, as well as some concerts. With the congregation of ghosts in the abandoned church, the community was able to bounce their significant landmark back to operating status, making the art not just amazing visually and historically, but also with its good that it is done. And because of the historical significance, as well as just looking dope as shit, I hope one day I can travel to Lukova and check it out myself. If you like this overview of the art installation, My Mind, then leaving a like really helps out the channel, and it just makes me smile. And if you like my yapping as well as some horror-oriented content, then you might enjoy my channel. And if that's the case, then make sure you hit subscribe at some point, because a lot of people forget me. Like my parents did multiple times. If you've ever visited the ghost church, I'd love to hear your experience. And if you learned about a new landmark and tourist spot today, then let me know. This is a bit different from my other videos, and a normal upload will be on Friday as usual. But this just tickled my fancy, and I wanted to talk about it. And yeah. Alright,